Hi crafty friends, this is Julia from Just One More Card, and today I have a fun shaker card for you featuring dies and sequins by Pretty Pink Posh and a gorgeous digital stamp by Sassy Cheryl's. That's this cute little, I don't know if it's a dog, I think it's a dog and a plane, and I printed it on Simon Says Stamp Ultra Heavy cardstock, and the sentiment is just something that I came up with and just typed and printed it as well. Now what I'm going to do is basic Copic shading. You could go crazy and, like talk about texture and rust maybe on a plane and whatever, but I just wanted to have a fun and easy project. So what I'm doing is I'm determining that the light is coming from above, and so if you consider that the body of the plane is curved, it's curved, then the bottom part would be curved away from the light. So I shaded in the area that would be the darkest with my mid-red tone, and then I'm going in with my darkest red tone to give it, to go in the end. There's a reason why I went in with the lighter red first. I wanted to make sure that I would not extend the dark area too far, because I only want a very small dark area and a much larger lighter area to make sure that I get that impression right, that the plane is rounded and dimensional. I will be listing all of the colors either in the video description below or on my blog, and a link is in the video description below. And you can see here that I progress from darker colors to lighter colors, and you will have to test your paper, because when you layer a lot of color, you have to make sure that, it doesn't matter if it bleeds through or not if you're going to mount the panel on a card base, but you have to check if your paper is prone to feathering, and that means that the color will seep away off to the side past the stamped lines. And the Simon Says stamp paper actually is prone to that. I was aware of that, and that's why I was very careful not to put too much color into the same spot. And I would wait if I would have to go over the area again to make sure it wasn't wet anymore so it wouldn't feather that much. You can see here once more, I only added a little bit of the darkest shade and then immediately started to blend out towards the light. And you can see the gorgeous effect that you get with only this tiny little bit of darkness. And I think that is something that I've been struggling with in the past, because I was always trying to add a lot of darkness to the image, and then it kind of was overwhelming. And it looks right here, I like that a lot. Now with the scarf, I'm doing the same thing. I'm determining that where it bends backwards, it goes up, then it bends backwards, and exactly where it bends, that is going to be the lightest area. The area right down there that I just colored would be darkest, and that area up here as well, because it's curved away a little bit from the light, at least from my imaginary light source. It's like an imaginary friend, the imaginary light source. It could come from wherever, but that's where I decided it would be. And so I made sure that this area would be the lightest, and I colored the other part of the scarf the same. Now here for the metal parts of the plane, I'm using Twin Touch brush alcohol markers. They're comparable to the Copic markers. I bought a few because they're much cheaper than Copics, and I'm trying them out on a few projects to see if I like them or not, but they behave essentially the same. Depending on when I will publish this card, I will either have already published my review of the Twin Touch brush markers, or I'm just about to, so keep your eyes out for that. And other than that, it's the same principle as I did with the red color. Put on a little bit of the darkest color and then blend out with the lighter colors. Now for the dog, I originally had wanted to do some fancy stuff with the fur, but I realized quite quickly it wouldn't work out. So I defaulted to the easy Copic coloring, which is simply putting down a little bit of darker color where it would be darkest, where the shade would be, and then adding lighter color into the highlights. I feel like sometimes we get so worried about light sources and texture and doing fancy stuff that it takes the fun out of the coloring. So I like to remind myself to just have fun by doing really easy projects, and that is simply going from dark to light. You can do this with any color combinations you have. You can use any colors that you have, any image that you have. There is no reason to go extra fancy and maybe, take the fun out of coloring. Just do something really, really easy. Even if you think, I'm way past that skill level, I can do so much more. Just try something really easy, and I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it a lot. Now to give the plane a little bit more dimension, I actually traced it with a gray marker and then came in with my colorless blender and went over that gray marker just to mute it a little bit. Now to create the shaker element, I'm starting off with the, I think this is Dust by Altenew. And once I manage to open the ink pad, I'm inking up the entire stamp here. This is by My Favorite Things. And what I'm doing is I want to have a pattern on my shaker frame. So this is cardstock here, obviously, paper, cardstock. And lifting this up. And it's really gorgeous. It turned out really, really nicely. And I'm using this square stitched scallop frame die by Pretty Pink Posh to die cut my frame out of this. So here's what you get. Obviously there's leftover paper. This I can put aside for later. And then you get the inside part and then the outside part of this die. And I'm only going to use the outside part. I added some adhesive to this. Usually I would use my ATG gun, but that's in storage. At least it was at the time of us making this video. So I'm just using some other adhesive. And then I'm placing a piece of acetate there. And I'm going to trim it down with my scissors. But I wanted to give myself enough room to work with. That's why I didn't trim it down exactly in the beginning. Because, you know, sometimes you can't adhere it perfectly and then you just break it. So then I'm using foam tape and my scissors to get smaller strips of the foam tape so that I can adhere it onto the back side of this frame, because not only will that adhere the frame to my card base, it will also keep the shaker elements in. If you would want to put in a lot of shaker elements, you could double up on this foam layer, but I knew that I would only be putting like a little bit of a few shaker elements in there. So I'm using some sparkling clear sequins by Pretty Pink Posh in the size 6mm and 4mm, and I'm actually turning them over because I know they won't have enough space to turn over by themselves once I put the shaker together. I'm adding some Ocean Mist iridescent sequins. They've been recently released by Pretty Pink Posh, or at least they've been released in May. Again, I don't know when I'll show you this video, but only a few of them. And then I'm adding some sparkling clear seed beads. And you can see here that I'm only adding a few, not dumping stuff on there, because I don't want the shaker to cover up the coloration that I did. That cost me so much time and effort. So I'm putting down my frame here, making sure it sticks, and then giving this a good shake. Because, you know, that's what you're supposed to do with a shaker card. You're supposed to shake it. And I put enough in there so it would shake and you would have fun doing that. But I put few enough sequins and seed beads in there so you could still see the coloring. I added some accents with my white gel pen just to give the illusion of, you know, like light hitting on this, you know, particular spot. That's what the white gel pen is supposed to show. And here's a close-up of the shaker frame that I created, the beautiful stitched outline as well that you get with the Pretty Pink Posh dies, and there are some of the sequins that you can see as well. And here is the entire card featuring the digital stamp by Sassy Charles. I hope you've got inspired, and I hope you try some easy copy coloring, just for fun, just for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. There are a lot more videos to come. Thanks, bye.